Hey everyone, how you doing today? So, came for a little stroll out here, Bragdon Hill Conservation Area, and doing a little bit of a trail assessment. While I was here, I thought I might show you a little bit about pileated woodpecker. So here's a tree that's been fed on in the past by pileated woodpeckers. It's been a while since they've been back here. But as you can see, there's these typical elongated holes. These are very definitive of pileated woodpecker feeding sign. And as you can see, they're actually quite large. They're going to be very, very big. Sometimes these will be connected all together and it'll make one big long feeding site. So this, when people think of pileated woodpecker, this is mainly what they're considering. As you can see, there's other things going on with these, and kind of cool right here. I'm not entirely certain. I'm going to have to dig into this a little bit more, and maybe we'll be back with a camera on this one. But this might actually be a flying squirrel latrine. I'm going to have to check that out and see what we get. So I just found this tree here. I stopped to look at it because it's got a porcupine den in it. But it's also got some really cool pileated woodpecker sign on it. So it's really neat. I'll show it to you. Really cool that there's two different species utilized in this dead tree. So let's have a look. So up there is the main event, the reason that I stopped. That's the porcupine den. I've been using this tree for a number of years, and I stopped to take a look to see if maybe it's still active. It's definitely worn and looks like something's been going in and out of it, but I can't tell for sure that it's 100% active right at the moment without climbing up there and having a look inside. But the other thing that caught my eye when I came over here was there's all of this pileated woodpecker sign on the opposite side of the tree. So as you can see down here on the bottom, look at this big pile of chips. Generally chips like this I would throw in the category of general woodpecker sign. But these ones are pretty good size. As you can see, these are a lot larger than you would see from other woodpeckers, but there's also the depth of damage to the tree. You can see right here, like that's a good 2.5, almost 3 inches deep into the tree. And this is indicative of pileated woodpecker sign, especially this. Remember in the last segment I was just talking about that they have this tendency to make these long cuts as they go up through the tree. If you get really, really close, you can start to see that these are actually like strikes from the beak as they go in to the tree. So there's like, and that's a pretty pronounced one right here. Let me get in there and show you. That's a pretty good size one right there. So this is definitely pileated woodpecker sign. So if you're out looking and you come across a tree that looks damaged like this, you can see that this cut just runs all the way up through here, and it's just been working its way up. That's a pretty good sign a pileated woodpecker's been here. So I found another tree where they've been feeding. This is an old beech, been pretty beat up, and inside it shows some galleries from the different insects that the pileated woodpeckers are looking for. So let's have a look at that. So up inside this hole, we'll get up in there, and you can see some of the galleries that, this is probably most likely carpenter ant, where they've hollowed out these long galleries all the way up through the wood here. And that's what the pileated woodpecker was after. That's why he went through all the effort of hacking his way into this. Now this is pretty deep. It's almost as deep as my hand is long before he gets to any of the galleries that have some food in them. But that would be an area of great interest. So that's what they're after. So carpenter ants are one of the pileated woodpecker's favorite food sources. And they find them a lot of times in these dead trees because carpenter ants like wet wood. So anytime you find a punky wet tree with pileated woodpecker sign, there's a good chance there's carpenter ants in there, and that's what they're after. Okay, so I found the third example, pileated woodpecker sign, that I wanted to show you. I searched high and low for this one because it really trips people up at times. I've seen a lot of things on Facebook groups and stuff like that where people are struggling with this particular woodpecker sign. They think it's porcupine or bear or deer or all kinds of other different things. So I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. It's probably a good and a bad example. It's a little high up for videoing, but it also shows you that it's obviously not deer, because it's not, deer aren't that tall. And it's not very likely bear, because bear would have a hard time doing this kind of damage and being that far off the ground. So there's a couple of things that I want to show you. And okay, so down here on the ground is a bunch of chips and stuff. It's indicative of pileated woodpecker or any kind of woodpecker feeding sign. There's chips laying all over the ground. Now, one of the things that I've seen some people get caught up with on Facebook groups and stuff like that, talking about what kind of damage this is they'll see this shredded bark like this and think that this is a deer shredding it with its antlers or something like that. But this is just the fibrous material that's directly at the base of the outer bark on these popple trees. So that's one of the things. And as if you look up here, I'll show you where the woodpecker's been feeding. Now this here, this is probably about a 5-foot stretch, and the woodpecker has been feeding up there and peeling that whole outer layer off. You can see some of the inner bark just swinging in the wind. This is one of the things that, people will say that's porcupine that did that. But as you can see, this tree is definitely dead. It's 100% dead. Porcupines will feed on the inner cambium layer of a tree, which has to be alive in order for them to feed on it. So it's not one of them either. So this is one of the ones that I really wanted to show you today. Now the size of that area, like I said, it's about 5 feet long. That's indicative of a pileated. That's a lot of area to cover for a small woodpecker. So even though I would call this type of sign like a general woodpecker sign, small haries and downies can do this to smaller trees. This is definitely a pileated, considering the size of the tree and the size of the area damaged. So I hope you've enjoyed this video about woodpecker sign, and I encourage you to get out there and take a look for yourself, see if you can find some. Even share them on the Facebook page. I appreciate it. Thanks.